Hello, this is LordUg. Yes, it is. Welcome to some Dead Cells. Now, the game's been updated, and it's looking a lot better, and it's actually a lot more fun now. It was great anyway, and I did play it as far as it could go. I did take it to the finish as far as it could be. So, I haven't played it for a while, but they've done a big upgrade now. There's a lot more to it, and I just got back into it again. So, I had a friend, a real life friend, who I bought this game for recently, and they keep asking me for tips about the game without telling them too much. So what I thought is I'd come up with a video and do some very basic tips for this game. Now, of course, this is I'm using the Xbox controller. I would suggest using the controller. That's tip number one, because sometimes it gets so crazy on the screen with quite a lot of mobs all attacking at the same time that it would be hard to, get it done with a keyboard, just pressing all different buttons quickly. It's a lot easier on a controller, so I would say a controller. So let's start and do a few tips, and then my friend can watch this and hopefully it'll help him. And if anybody else who doesn't know the game, then this will help you too. Remember, please don't put comments in saying things like, well, we knew all this, and all this, what you've said, because this is just for beginners. That's all this is. Oh, and also, if you want me to do a monster guide where I take you through some of the monsters and give you tips and that on how to handle them and what works best with them and the best way to deal with them, then just let me know in email or comment or whatever, because I know some of you still love to email me so regularly. So yeah, just email me if you wish. So let's start off. Now, one of the earliest things that people don't realise, and I'm not saying, I know some people feel silly when they realise this, and I did this for an hour. I didn't know this, but you can roll, and if you don't look at the controls in listed, you don't really realise it. You just think you've got the jump, which is on green, and then you've got your sword swings and things like that. But if you're running and you press the B button on an Xbox controller, like I say, you're going to have to turn it to the keyboard if you're using that. Then it will let you roll. Now, roll is your friend. You can do a hell of a lot of things with roll. I've had mobs all the way around me trying to kill me, and all of a sudden I've just seen my figure roll out of it and get away. It saves you from a lot of pain. So rolling's good. Now, one of the things I want to point out first is, if you go back on yourself, when you first start in the prison area, if you go back on yourself, there's a ledge here, and then here, and there's actually a blueprint in here. It's a secret area, and once the blueprint's gone, then you can still come here, and there'll be a gem here that can be, sometimes it's only worth about 250, sometimes it's worth 1,000, so it is worth getting. Okay, so remember that one. Of course, everything gets stored up here. Let's just go to stats a second. This is your stats person. You can do this. This is a daily challenge door. There is something you can get that lets you through that. Now, this is your stats guy. So if you want to come here, just have a look at how you've done with things. So as you can see, I've done 12 runs because I had to restart. I'd actually done like many runs. I've had over 100 hours on this game, so I've done many runs and finished it quite a few times. But I've had to start again with it being a new update, so I've done 12 runs so far, 223,000, nearly 224,000 altogether. So getting on towards 20 grand every run in money, so that's good. I've spent 152 of it. What else we got? What's on there? Most cells held. Yeah, just normal stuff. I had a lot of cells. That was good. Weapon blueprints recovered, 13. Total weapons unlocked, 13. Chest looted, 34 and that. Right, this tells you how you've done in each area. So I've had 12 runs. I've done 12 times in prison cells, which is going to happen because this is the prison cells. I've done 11 runs in the Promenade of Condemned. So there was one time I actually died in here in the prison cells, and that was the first run. I got a bit cocky, tried to go a bit too quick, and got my ass kicked. I've been 10 times up Rampart, so I've died like once at Promenade, and then 9 times up Black Bridge. Now, Black Bridge is where you fight the first boss, the incomplete one. And as you can see, I've gone to Fog Fjord 3 times, which is the place after the Black Bridge. So that means I've beat the incomplete one 3 times so far. And I've been to the Clock Tower twice. And then this will tell you about the monsters. Most of the monsters haven't killed me. I got a zombie kill me once. I think that was the very first run I did. That one that I said. I died in prison cells. And then most of them haven't touched me. Incomplete ones killed me 6 times, and I've been killed that 3 times. So, well, Fog Fjord said 3 times. So as you can see, it adds up. And then just a couple of trickles either there, here and there, and that's it. So that's just the idea of that. Now I'm going to move on to. People don't bother with shields, and shields actually did used to be useless. They used to be really, really bad in this game. Nobody used shields. I don't even use shields now. I always use a sword on my X and a ranged on my Y. But people can use shields now. They are honestly a lot better. One good thing about them is they automatically absorb 75% damage, and that's a big damage. So, and as you can see, if you actually hit them with it, like parry them, then it actually gives damage out. You can cancel all damage if you parry at the right time. So it's good to get you out of trouble if you've got one. It's good to get you out of trouble in a push if you're really in a bad place. So anyway, let's get going. I'm going to go to the next tip that I have. So let's go. Okay, so your next tip is that now when you get a scroll that lets you level up one of your skills, you can either do red, which covers your weapons, mainly in your X slot. It can affect the weapon in your Y as well. I mean, if you look in the bottom left corner, you can see that the bow in the Y square, sorry, is half red, half purple. So either red or purple is going to affect the bow, and both are going to put it up. So whichever you pick will affect the bow either way. So the bow gets a lot of love either way. But of course, if you read it, it's mainly for your red weapon. It'll kill after you kill an enemy. Your attacks inflict 50% more damage. So that's why at times you might see some arrows pointing up, yellow arrows, and then if you stand still for a short time, you'll see red arrows pointing down. It isn't that you've lost anything, it just means that you've gone back to normal, your attack. The yellow arrows was your attack going up because you've just killed something. The red arrows is it going back to normal. Also, it does give you 7% on your health, so that's not too bad. You get a little bit of a health boost. The tactics one, that is primarily for your skills in the left trigger and right trigger squares, LT and RT. Also, again, it affects the bow, but mainly for those in the LT and RT. It will make them stronger. 25% more damage for those. Also, the cooldown for your skills comes down as well. Every time you put it up, it goes down a little bit, and your cooldown cooldown goes quicker, and the skill gets active a lot quicker. Again, 7% health, so that's good. The green one is for shields mostly, 25% damage for green equipment. So if you've got a shield that does damage, where you can hit things with it or whatever, it'll do 25% more damage. This is the one that doesn't affect your Y. It's just the other two. After you parry with a shield, your attacks inflict 188 damage a second. So put that up, and that's what you're going to get as an increase. But the best thing is you get 20% more health. So like at say 200 HP, 200 health, you're going to get like a 40% increase. Personally, I like to top up my tactics. Again, pick what suits you. If you're a person, I watched the stream the other day, really, really good. It broke it down. You could see him slowly learning as he went along until he really got a grip of the game. But he used his sword a lot. I noticed he hardly ever used his left and right triggers. I don't think he even thought of them most of the time. He just really charged him with the sword. But it worked for him. He did really well with it. So he needs to concentrate mostly on brutality and have and maybe just have some skills that hold somebody in place with LT and RT, and concentrate on that. And otherwise, always keep remembering to put the green up, because the green gives you the biggest health boost. So my health right now is 120. If you watch, I'll pick green now. Watch what it goes up to. There you go. So I got 24 for that. Yeah. So that was good. That's a good health. Sometimes you survive with less than that. You'll sometimes get out of a situation with like 2 health left. So that 24 counts. Also, another thing I want to tell you about is I picked up a sword, and it's that I'm using now, and it's called a balanced blade. Okay. Now the problem with the good thing about it is it swings quickly. Let me show you. Whee! Right. Well, here's the problem. Sometimes because it stays in midair before it drops to the ground. You see. Now sometimes when you try and kill something, you'll be too high, and you're swinging above its head. And because you're swinging so quick, you're basically just swinging at the thin air above its head. But when it shoots at you or swings at you, it still hits you because it's hitting the lower part of your body. So you can literally die to something that is really easy to kill because you're doing no damage to it. You're swinging over the top of its head. If you've got a sword that swings fast, you need to make sure you land and then start swinging. Because if you swing too early, you're just going to waste it. And then you're probably going to get killed and not understand why you even got killed. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's go to the next tip. Okay, so next tip is there's nothing, as you can see if you look at the screen now, there's nothing special on it, but there is a visual clue that shows secret areas in the walls when you're running round. You don't have to run up and start swinging at every bit of wall to try and find out if there's a clue, if there's a secret there. All you do is, as you're running through, run near walls, and this happens. Watch that wall. You see? Let me just go and kill him because he's not going to let me. He's going to not let me stop. Okay. So, if you look, there's a rune lights up, and that means there's a secret behind that rune. Just hit it, and it can be anything. It can be food. It can be a gem or whatever. So that's a good visual clue. Just as you're running around, you don't need to give it any. It's just a cursory glance. Like when I run round, I'll tend to run like here. I could just drop down that ladder and just go, but I'll just run up to the wall and then quickly run by, and I just run to walls like that and just run against them and then run off. And then you can that way you can check quickly to what to if there's a secret there, and then you don't have to waste time hunting round. Right, let's go to the next. Right, I just want to explain quickly what this does here, because I know some people it tells you in it if you read it, but I know there's been questions about it I've had before. So, is it worth 3,000 to begin with? Yes. If you have 3,000, buy it. Because you can, of course... Oh, yeah, I'll do that on the next door. Don't worry, I'll tell you on the next door. But, yeah, it's worth 3,000. And what it basically does is it replaces your prisoner collar. Well, your prisoner collar gives you nothing anyway. But what it means is that if you die, if you lose all your health, and as you know, all your cells, the dead cells, they all spill out of your body and you lose them all. What'll happen is they'll all come back into your body and you'll get like 75, I think it's 75% of your health back. So then you can carry on. So it basically gives you another life and you lose nothing. You keep all your dead cells and everything. So don't forget that. Okay, on to the next one. Don't forget to sell everything you're not using. It's a new thing that's in game. You couldn't do it before, but now you can actually sell things that you don't use. Unless it's the basic items that you start with. You can't sell those. But anything else, you can. And that includes food items and everything. Gems you don't need to because they're gold anyway, so you just pick them up normally. So hold RB and you'll sell for money. It really does help with money. While I'm here, I'll give you the next tip, which is know the attacks of the enemies. Like if you look at this guy here, he'll lean back, then jump. So if you know that attack, then you can time either your attack or your dodge accordingly. So for a roll, for example, let's see if I can get his attention. He'll lean back and then roll. You see, you can roll underneath, you can roll past him without even getting touched. Here we go, roll. See? And then you can kill him. So know the attacks of your enemies, get used to the timing, and then kill, and then fight them accordingly. The other thing I'd like to say is, one of your best skills in this game is the ground pound, basically stamping down onto the level below, because it will stun any enemy. And there's one that's purple with a shield, really annoying. But if you slam down behind him and it don't kill him, it'll stun him. So then you can kill him. So like this archer here, push down, press X, and you'll just slam down onto the ground. Do that, and most enemies it'll kill, and if it doesn't, it at least stuns them, so that you can finish them off. So always get used to using that as a way of fighting. You don't even need a ledge. You can literally just jump over the top of them, and then slam down again. See? So I didn't even... Oh, look what's here. Okay, so this is one of my favourite ranged weapons in the game, the throwing knife. I know this is only a level 1, but I'm going to take it over the bow. And I'll show you why. Because I was asked which is my favourite. Because if you throw it, look, that's just one throw. One arrow, and it took half of his health. See? And so you can throw them quickly. And each one puts a bleed effect on and multiplies it. So you'll see a ball of blood over the head, and it keeps increasing that ball of blood until and it takes their health down quicker and quicker and quicker. Right, so here's what I'm going to class as the last tip. I'm just going to take you through some of this. When you get to the end of every level, you always see the collector first. You have to spend all your cells. You have to. The door here will not open until you do. So we're going to press that, and we're going to then look through these. One thing I would say is always do your health. Forget most other things. Don't mind doing your odd weapon, like I'll do maybe a sword or something like, or a bow, maybe. But mostly I aim for the health, because that's what keeps you alive. It doesn't matter how good your sword is. If you die, you're dead. And then I do the money recovery, because it's terrible having about 20 grand and then you die and you've got 4. You know, and the more you can you use this, the more you put this up, the more money you can keep. I right now can keep 10,000. So I actually start, usually when I die I've got more than 10,000 anyway. So I start every level with 10 grand, which is excellent. I don't usually rush to upgrade bows and swords. I'm not massively quick on those, because as I said, I do a lot of the skill stuff. So I do the bear traps, I do the bombs, I tend to do these here, these kind of brands and blasts and that. These are good. Anything that gives frost is excellent, because it will basically pin them in place. They're just frozen, and you can get some really good attacks in before they unfreeze. So, you know, anything with I'd say this in particularly. The problem is the frost grenade used to be good, but now the cooldown is about 18 seconds, and so they've completely nerfed it. It's useless. Don't bother with the frost grenade. It is pointless. But this has no cooldown. Frost blast, you just use it again and again and again and again. Like with this, no cooldown, again and again and again and again. Because there is a fire grenade as well, and that's same. It's too long now. They've nerfed that too much. So, you know, go for these instead. They go in your, they can go in the X or Y. They don't go in your triggers. So they go in X or Y. Use these, and you can either freeze with one or put burn on them. And burn sometimes affects some of your other attacks, like other skills or other weapons. This is good as well, because these are brilliant. The horizontal turret, you just throw it on the floor, and as long as you stood within a certain range of it, it'll start firing at anything that's an enemy. And it can really do a lot of damage. Sometimes it's in the hundreds for every, per second, the damage it does. And same with this. The meat grinder, you just lay it on the floor, you throw it on the floor, and they walk over it, and whenever they stood on it, it does damage. It's basically cutting into the feet, you could say, and it does bleed damage. This doesn't do bleed damage, it just basically shoots them, but this will do bleed damage, and again, that can affect other weapons and skills as well, so be aware of that. The difference between these is, they both do good damage over time, in a way, but this one, the turret, can be destroyed by the enemy, but it's more versatile. It fires quicker, it tracks quicker, it'll track on enemies, like if you've got birds that fly around, it'll shoot them, it'll track in on them and shoot them. so that's a brilliant thing, but it can be attacked and destroyed. The grinder cannot be attacked and destroyed, but it lays on the floor. So if you've got something like a bird or something that can leap, it will sometimes leap over the grinder and doesn't do any damage. So that makes it pointless then. Whereas the turret will track them. But as I say, the problem with the turret is it can be destroyed, and then once it's destroyed, until you can throw it again, it's pointless. So I'd say that's my tip for this page. For this, cover your health, cover your money. So you've got health and money, and there's even this here, the recycling. You can put this up as well. This gives you more percentage when you recycle something. So it starts off about 20%, I think. And I think it goes up, I don't know. I don't really know if it starts at 20 or 30% normally as a base number. And then you can put it up. It goes up a certain percent every time you take it to its next level. And you take it up a level by spending cells into it. To spend cells, just go over what you want to build up. So, have I started anything? I have. I've started this whip because I'm interested in it. It's a new whip I've not seen. And just hold down your A button. It'll put them in. When it's filled up, then it's gone on to its next level. And all it does then is put its starting base stats up. So if it starts off, let's say, normally doing 20 points of damage a second, it might start with 35 damage a second. And that's all that putting these cells in does. So every time you take it up to a new level, it'll actually start at a higher level on its base rate. But that does help, because then whenever you pick any of the scrolls up and upgrade with that, then of course it's going to scale quicker to a higher level, to higher damage. So it is worth putting them in. If you find a favourite weapon, level it up as much as you can, and whenever it opens up again, level it up again, because when you get it, you'll do a lot of damage with it. So now I've done that, I want to show you one more little tip. One more thing you can do. If you haven't got money and you find something behind a gold door, I'm going to show you what you can do with it. So, be right back. Okay, so the very last tip I do have for you is these doors. Now, from time to time, you'll find these gold doors with a price underneath. Now, you can pay the price, obviously, if you have gold. And you just press your right block button on your Xbox controller, or you can hit the door. And if you keep attacking the door, say you haven't got much money, and you don't want, so you might not even have 1,000, but you want that shield bad, or you want to turn the shield into money to give you to have more. Hit the door. When you hit it enough, you will kill the door. And when you do, this happens. You have outraged the gods. Take one little hit and you're dead. Eliminate 10 enemies to lift the curse. It always works out. So like, the door costs 1,000, so you do 10 enemies. If the door costs 3,000, you do 30 enemies. So obviously if it does 10,000, then you've got to kill 100 enemies to clear the curse. And that is what it says, until 10 enemies are dead. If I get hit once, it doesn't matter if I've got 10,000 health points. If I get hit once, game over, I'm dead. So that is the price for bashing open the doors. But then of course you can turn that into money and collect that. Not that it helps much, because now I've got to kill 10 things. Of course the good thing is that if you do this on the early levels, it's not too bad, because it's just, but it is one hit. It's not, you don't have to just get killed, it's just one little hit. So you've got to be careful of everything. Even if an archer just hits you with one arrow, it's over. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope this helped, and if you want me to do some going through the mobs in the game, some of the mobs in the game, to give you an idea how to handle them, or if you want some more advanced tips, then yeah, just let me know in the comments or send me an email and I will get onto it if that's what you wish. So thanks for watching guys, hope this has helped, and I'll see you next time. You take care. Goodbye for now.